What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason and Joe here with an album review talking about the new record, the debut from the last dinner party. It's called Prelude to Ecstasy. Big record in the UK. I think it's getting quite a bit of hype. Maybe not quite as well known here. I really don't know who knows what anymore, but we figured we should talk about it because it seemed important. So, how you feeling about Prelude to Ecstasy?
Well, I'm with you that I had never really heard of this album, and I had no idea it was getting all sorts of buzz across the pond. Apparently, it's sort of a Arctic Monkeys situation where they were doing a lot of like live stuff and like building an audience and sort of, putting in their dues before getting, the major label treatment and everything. So, we had some people play their songs in the Discord. I heard one and I thought it was okay. And I guess it's the big single, Nothing Matters, which is, I guess, blown up in the UK. And I thought it was decent, but, it wasn't like, oh, I got to listen to this album or anything. But I gotta say, this album is like right up my alley. Big Baroque instrumentation, a lot of strings, strong, swoopy female vocals. It's a very, very strong debut, I gotta say. It really feels like fully formed, like almost like what are they gonna do next? Because like it would be tough to like add more layers and like strings and instrumentation to this one because it is just, very large sounding. And you get, the usual, some Kate Bush comparisons, maybe some Tori Amos for like the lyrical, kind of raw, gothic stuff. Vocally, lead singer Abigail Moore sounds very much like Florence and the Machine to me. Instrumentally, I don't know if I've heard much like it lately. Like it's very big, very ornate. The first track is this completely instrumental like Tchaikovsky-esque, James Horner-esque like score, very cinematic sounding, which is a cool way to kick things off. The songs, they continue that feel very cinematic. Um, it's almost like a post Robin Trower Procol Harum, the way things are just like so much going on. I think my biggest problem is you don't get quite enough of the band underneath it. It feels sometimes like they're just like drowned out, at least on the first half. They kind of come alive a little bit, more guitars and stuff on the second half. Maybe hear a little bit more of the band and less of the layers of production. It's James Ford who does the production, who did Florence and the Machine and some Arctic Monkeys stuff. I definitely get a little bit of like that Tranquility Base and Hotel and Casino, a bit of the Car, sort of that, big ornate 60s sound. Some cool tracks. My Lady of Mercy and Sinner, I think, have a little bit more of that rock underpinning, uh, the lushness, a little louder, a little more aggressive. Nothing Matters might be my least favorite on the album. It feels a little forced just because of the lyrics, and I don't know, it's just like a too obviously for the indie rock crowd. But overall, I think it's pretty impressive. Everything sounds really good. So it's a very interesting debut. Very much not what I've heard, you know, definitely not from like a female fronted rock band. I don't think I've ever heard anything quite like this. So I liked it a lot. I'm going to give it 4 stars and interested to see what the heck they're going to do next, if they kind of strip things down a little bit or if they're, go bigger, like 2 orchestras on every track. I don't know.
I overall really enjoyed this record. I think their songwriting is really strong. I like Abigail Morris's vocals a lot, and it does remind me a little of Florence and the Machine, except I really, really don't like Florence and the Machine. Everything with them is just like full scale, like there's no dynamics. Everything is just like at 10, super big and grandiose at all times. And I don't think this record really has that much of that of a problem with that. I think this record walks the line a little more and kind of uses that same sort of similar big sound in a better way. Her vocals remind me a lot of Torres, actually, who also just released a record. I think they have a very similar vocal sound and style. Overall, the record is a little more slickly produced than I would really like this type of rock to be. I think Alan Moulder mixed it, and his mix is just a little like kind of flattens everything out, like where everything's just really big, but there's not a lot of depth. Sonically, I think it could be more interesting. There's so much going on. There's like strings and all these arrangement elements happening, but it comes at you like a wall, and you can't really, enjoy individual pieces of it so much. So that's my big issue. But I did like the songs. I think there's a lot of really good melodies, good lyrical ideas. I think the flow and the pacing of the album is great. The way it opens with the prelude. There's a little interlude halfway through. It's really structured uh, and thought out the way it flows. But overall, I like the general vibe of this. I like the darkness, the kind of gothic thing they're doing. I think it's interesting. I think they could take it in a little more of a rock and roll direction rather than such like over the top orchestration. Still keep some of that, and I think that does add to the sound. But if they scaled it back a little, maybe explored some other sounds as well, it could add some depth and interest to the sound. Overall, really good debut. Again, good songs, lots of good melodies. 4 stars for me. Yeah. All right. If you've heard this record, let us know what you think of it. Let us know in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. You can find Patreon and our social media in the video description. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.